Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey. This film is not yet rated. Advance tickets on sale November 7th. In theaters December 14th.
And welcome to Time About the Movies, everybody. I almost forgot the title of the show here. Only one movie to take a look at this week. There's no special intro and all that type of stuff. We're just jumping right into it for this movie that comes out on December 14th, 2012. And that is, of course, The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey. This is, of course, the long-awaited prequel to the Lord of the Rings trilogy that had been in development for a number of years. I mean, right from the very beginning, when the Lord of the Rings series came to an end with Return of the King 9 years prior, they were already talking about doing another movie series based off the Hobbit books. It had been in development for a couple of years with Guillermo del Toro set to direct the film, but then about 2 years after he signed on, he eventually left the project because of the delays caused by, MGM being kind of in financial disputes at the time because they were losing money and they didn't have a studio behind them for the most part. And then Peter Jackson came back on board that October, so Jackson was returning essentially to the world that he created, and right from the get-go, you got a lot of people worried that, it's going to be like the Star Wars prequels again, when George Lucas came back with the Phantom Menace and all that. And so, yeah, a lot of people were really concerned about that, but then trailers came out, looked pretty promising, and yeah, it was great to see Middle-earth back again. And, they did have a new kind of format in terms of releasing a movie in 3D, because it wasn't just 3D anymore, no. It was high frame rate 3D, which is not this whatsoever. I don't know why I'm even doing that, but they advertised it as high frame rate, which was basically, they used a shooting and projection frame rate of 48 frames per second, becoming the first feature film for a wide release to do that. But the problem was, a lot of the theaters that had this had the industry standard 24 frames per second after the film was converted. So this new technology was not going to work in a number of different theaters, which kind of led to a box office that wasn't as strong as I think they were expecting it to. It still made over $1 billion at the box office, but yeah, that was one of the things that they were trying to sell the people on. But unfortunately, there was just not a lot of theaters that converted that had that type of 3D cinema, 3D camera work to show to people. But in terms of the film itself, it takes place in Middle-earth 60 years before the events of The Lord of the Rings, and portions of the film are adapted from the appendices of Tolkien's Return of the King. In An Unexpected Journey, we have the story of Bilbo Baggins, played by Martin Freeman, who is convinced by the wizard Gandalf, once again played by Ian McKellen, to accompany 13 dwarves, led by Thorin Oakenshield, played by Richard Armitage, on a quest to reclaim the Lonely Mountain from the dragon Smaug, played later on by Benedict Cumberbatch. The ensemble cast in this film includes Ken Stott, Cate Blanchett, Ian Holm, Christopher Lee, Hugo Weaving, James Nesbitt, Elijah Wood, Andy Serkis. It also features Sylvester McCoy, Barry Humphries, and Manu Bennett. And a lot of the characters, of course, from The Lord of the Rings are in this movie, including, you see Gollum in this movie, of course. You see a lot, like I said, a lot of the characters from The Lord of the Rings. And the movie didn't get the greatest reviews overall. It still did decent numbers, 64% on Rotten Tomatoes, which mostly means mixed reviews in general. And most people criticized it mostly because of the fact that, the deliberate pace of the movie robs the material of some of its majesty. I mean, that's what it says on Rotten Tomatoes, but I mean, I saw the movie back then. I didn't think it was all that bad. I actually did kind of enjoy it for the most part, mostly because it was my first time seeing The Lord of the Rings on the big screen. I saw this on the same day that I saw the last Hobbit movie. Because my first experience really with Lord of the Rings started with The Desolation of Smaug. That was the first one I went to see on the big screen. And then, as time went on, when the last one came out, I was there for the marathons at the Cinemark theater I usually go to, where they showed Unexpected Journey first, then Desolation of Smaug, and then for everybody, they were going to get to see Battle of the Five Armies for the first time. So that was my first time experiencing the Lord of the Rings films through this movie, and the Hobbit films is through. My first time seeing this was when I was going to see the last film, because I didn't see this one before in theaters or on Blu-ray. I had the Blu-ray for the longest time, and I just never got around to seeing it. But I actually did think it was enjoyable to see. It was great seeing this world on the big screen, and it really was a film that really did take me away, and gave me a lot of reasonings to why people love these movies in general. Plus, it does a better job of creating a prequel to an already established universe than something like Harry Potter would do a couple of years later. I mean, say what you will about the Hobbit movies, they beat the crap out of Fantastic Beasts almost instantly out of the park. I mean, there's no denying these movies are much, much better than anything that comes out of Fantastic Beasts overall. The casting overall is really good. I think Martin Freeman playing Bilbo Baggins was a smart decision. He looks like a young Ian Holm in this, and he does a very good job of doing that. Of course, Ian Holm plays Bilbo in the Lord of the Rings films. And again, it's cool to see all the characters from the Lord of the Rings coming together in this movie. And yet, once again, it's been so long after the last Lord of the Rings films. I mean, yeah, it's fun to see everybody coming back here. It's like when you see the Harry Potter cast getting back together for the Universal rides. Like, that's cool that they can still get back together and still look the same way they did the last time we saw them. I mean, that's something that's really impressive about what they do there. But I will say, though, this one is not my personal favorite of the Hobbit movies in general, but it's still a movie I really do like. I think it is much better than people let on. I think it is a very fun film overall, and it definitely is nice to head back to Middle-earth to see what they can do with these stories that started off this whole thing altogether. So I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a ton of fun, and yeah, that's really all I got to say about The Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey. It's a good, fun film that, for a first-timer into the series, this was worth it. This was worth it overall. Like, if you're getting into the Lord of the Rings series for the first time, it's not a bad movie to get you started off with overall. So, The Hobbit: An Unexpected Journey. So that's it for this episode of Time About the Movies. We will have more movies to look at tomorrow because it's Christmas week. It's the penultimate weekend of 2012. We have Tom Cruise starring in Jack Reacher. We have the sort of sequel to Knocked Up, focusing on Paul Rudd and Leslie Mann's characters. This is 40, directed by Judd Apatow. We have a comedy that I think gets a real bad rap, but I actually really enjoyed this one. Seth Rogen and Barbara Streisand in The Guilt Trip. Monsters, Inc. gets a 3D re-release ahead of the new Monsters movie coming out the following summer. We have Cirque du Soleil, Worlds Away. So that's already 5 films right there. We have Catherine Bigelow's follow-up to The Hurt Locker, Zero Dark 30. We have Naomi Watts and also Tom Holland in The Impossible. So, I mean, yeah, 7 movies overall. And, yeah, we have one more here, too, more. So, yeah, 8 films to take a look at next time around. And that certainly makes up for the last couple of weeks where we've only had, like, 1 or 2 movies. Yeah, we're going to be stacked this next episode, so stay tuned for that. 8 films to take a look at tomorrow, as we're coming to the end of 2012 here. So, with all that said, thank you so much for watching this, and I hope you enjoyed this. And if you did, please go ahead and do me the honor of going to hit that like button, also hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification button, too. Don't forget to check out our playlist, and don't forget to check out the previous episode we did. With all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.